Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we're going to dive into the 7 tips to an engaging pitch deck with Cannabiscope. On the line to help us do that is Katrina Glogowski. She's a local attorney and angel investor. Thanks for being back on the podcast.
Good morning, Josh.
So the 7 tips to an engaging pitch deck include: number 1, identify a business plan goal. 2 is know your audience. 3 is understand the market. 4 is identify needs and roadblocks. 5 is know what sets the business apart. 6 is introduce the team and the product. And 7 is create a summary. So Cannabiscope is a cannabis-focused platform to provide an e-commerce solution. So it looks like they've raised $44,000 from 280 investors. So we're going to dive into this online pitch deck.
This should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. So right here it says they have over 257 active businesses. They conducted 2 successful test pilots in 2018. They plan to release content management systems and payment processing for CBD next year. And they have 12 signed letters of intent from dispensaries and retailers that plan to utilize this payment processing platform.
Josh, if they can solve the payment processing for CBD, they will be heroes in the industry. That is a big problem. So hopefully they figured it out.
Let's just say I've looked at over 3 dozen of these and none of them meet the requirements that I need, which is at least being backed by the DFI, the Department of Financial Institutions, huge regulatory authority. Washington State is the 2nd strictest behind New York. So a lot of them aren't working with banks, let alone the DFI or FDIC or any regulatory agency. So with that hesitation, I'm going to try and stay open-minded, dive into this.
Let's not mention that if you're going to be a true payment processor, you have to register with the FTC and get a whole bunch of licensing in each state. I myself have investigated this, and it is not an easy process. It is very expensive. Each state's rules are different. And if they can solve this, if they can take that pain point away, Josh, they will literally be an industry hero.
Yeah, that's a huge step. It's regulation on top of a regulated industry, so it only compounds the challenges. But if they can do it, like you mentioned, a huge step. And so what they're trying to tackle essentially is they have this interactive wheel that consumers can drill down through a desired effect, scents, flavors to find a strain of cannabis that's right for them. So the company has 257 active businesses utilizing this wheel, and so it can display certain products. So this Cannabiscope plans to use the proceeds to raise and build out a full content management system for retailers. They can have a site that displays their products in store and online, and an online shopping cart for consumers to empower e-commerce, easily add new products, analyze customer data, and much more. I'd like to see competitors and see how this is different than any other POS system. But that's an executive snapshot. I was looking for like who the founders were, but maybe that's down below.
Honestly, Josh, I have a concern right out of the gate. Are you a payment processing company for CBD retailers, or are you a THC dispensary point of sale system? Those are 2 very, very different businesses.
I would prefer for you to tell me up front, what is it that you do? And then down the road towards the end, tell me what you want to be, rather than confuse the situation. So I'm going to have to figure that out as we move on and see what they are. Right now, I'm kind of looking at this wheel. It has different colors on it.
I like the wheel. The wheel is not unique. Cannabinder has a wheel. This is not novel. But at the same time, what does this have to do with being a payment processor for CBD? And what does this have to do with being a point of sale system for THC dispensaries? I like it. It's novel. It might be complementary to their services, but I'm just a little confused as to what their product is. Payment processing, point of sale, or a wheel for a consumer.
So it talks about the market, which is number 3, understanding the market. they give us kind of a broad outline of what the sales projections are supposed to be, but not specifically to the company. Talk about a rapid growth, that consumers are unsure of what to purchase, and they want to know exactly what they're putting in their bodies, and moving away from cash and brick and mortar towards the e-commerce side is supposed to kind of draw people into this business. So they have some ways of making money, from brands to servicing doctors and organizations, consumers, hemp and online shopping, CBD dispensaries, kind of a.
Josh, my comment on that particular slide is THC and dispensaries are regulated entirely different than the hemp and CBD industry. So how is there one platform going to satisfy all of those needs without undue complexity? Maybe they have solved that, but normally you don't cross the streams. If you're going to play with THC, you play with THC. If you're going to play with CBD, you play with CBD. And then they start talking about doctors and branding. I'm a little lost. Maybe they'll get to it, though. I hope they get to it.
I'm pretty confused. I sort of just kept moving on, hoping that it might explain itself down the road. It talks about solutions, 3 solutions being discover, inform, and sell. So with discover, they have a user interface that's interactive. In terms of informing, they have a customer management system to provide a menu update and data insights to the industry as a whole. And in order to sell, they have that turnkey e-commerce platform in development for mobile and on-site ordering. So they do show some competitors, so that's good. They have Massroots as one, Leafly, Weed Maps. There's probably, like you mentioned, there's some other ones that should be on there. Cannabinder.
Cannabinder has a wheel just like they do. If they're going after the consumer education market, click on what you want to feel like. That it's been done. It's not new. If they're going for a point of sale system, been done. They don't identify the actual competitors in the point of sale market. If they're going for a payment processor, as their initial opening deck said, we're going to be a payment processor. Where's PayPal?
I don't understand why people want to copy what's already been done when there's so many other things you could do that haven't been done. And then to not do it to the full extent. The competitors are already so much farther, and you have 12 LOIs. I'm not a fan of LOIs. I think a letter of intent is actually not a very good tool to use. There's
and the letter of intent talked about dispensaries, which is, I'm assuming, their point of sale solution, not online retailing, not payment processing, and not the customer focused wheel.
Yeah, and with this next slide, they talk about revenue model, and there's nothing in there about dispensaries or even actually where the revenue is coming from. Well, actually, I'm sorry, up top there is. So the THC dispensaries, they have 12 at $1,000 a month. Now that's an LOI, letter of intent, to possibly pay $1,000 a month. In terms of CBD retailers, about the same, and THC delivery services about the same, $1,000 a month.
So this is troubling to me, Josh. Either they don't understand the market or they don't understand their competitors. So let's talk about THC delivery. First of all, THC delivery is illegal in several states. Second, they're going to do 1% of revenue. If you are a huge retailer like Uncle Ike's here in Seattle, 1% of your revenue is huge, huge. And why would you ever pay 1% of your revenue if you're a huge company? And those are the companies you want. In the alternative, a flat $1,000, Soro Software, which is one of their competitors for the point of sale in CRM, is much lower than that. So what benefit do they give that their competitors don't? And their price point is inappropriate. I like the subscription model. It allows for predictive revenue. I don't think that their numbers are right. Lack of research, lack of understanding. I don't know, but these numbers show to me that they really don't meet number 3, understand your market.
I would agree with that. There's a lot of things you can take from regular markets and look at it, and even if you don't understand cannabis, and there's examples out there, but ultimately, I'm not entirely convinced that they do know the market. Data insight as revenue, so they are kind of expecting to maybe compete with BDS Analytics and Headset and New Frontier.
Headset's huge. You're way late if you think you're going to compete with Headset. And again, are they a payment processing for CBD? Are they a POS? Are they consumer education? No. We're a data analytics company, which is ancillary, absolutely. But again, I'm struggling to understand really what their product is.
Here's how they're going to go to market. We don't know what the product is, but they have a go-to market strategy. They have online marketing, third-party prospecting, events, in-person demos, and sales collateral, all fairly standard. Finally, we get to an operation team.
The team, number 6.
So I do recognize some of these people. I do know that they've been in the industry for a while. I do know that they are successful. Would have been great to have this like right at the very beginning to kind of instill some kind of confidence or understanding of where it's coming from.
Josh, I'd like to take a moment here to educate our viewers. When we talk about the team and telling a potential investor about your team, it is wonderful that we have their names. Some of the pitch decks don't even give us names. And I can, on my own time, Google these people. I like that if I care to do so. But a blurb about relevant industry experience would be very helpful here. Your CEO, is he a payment processor? Does he have experience with a point of sale system? Is he the one who came up with the chart? Does he have some excellence in data analytics? So for our viewers, what an investor is looking for with the team slide is just briefly, not only their name, but also what their relevant experience is. And it can just be a blurb, started 3 internet companies. Great. At least it tells me who I want to be looking at.
So here's what they're looking for with the terms. They're looking for a note between $50,000 and $250,000 with a valuation cap at $2.5 million.
Josh, this type of thing is concerning to a true angel investor. If you can just send money over the internet, how is this company certifying that the individuals are accredited investors, certifying that these individuals can afford to make this investment and, of course, lose it? They might be getting a little close to the line with the SEC for their fundraising without the necessary disclosures and without a crowd note. This is a new thing to me. Maybe I don't understand it. New things come along every day. But at the same time, this is concerning to me with my attorney hat on today, whether or not they have met the requirements. And I see here a great big long lengthy document, but I'm concerned about that. I'm sure they had an attorney look at this. I'm sure that they are not running afoul of the SEC, but this is an educational podcast. And for our viewers doing a pitch deck, you have to know your audience for your market, but you also have to know your audience for an investor. Are you going for an accredited investor? Are you going for a qualified client? So that you don't run afoul of these rules, Josh.
Absolutely. So there's Rule 144A that exempts companies from going out and asking for public money, but that only allows you to ask for 35 non-accredited investors. What the other rule is a Small Business Act that Obama passed that basically puts the that accountability on the investors themselves, the mom and pops on the streets. If they invest more than $40,000 of their own income, they need to be an accredited investor, but that's up to them to provide or approve. And so a lot of these companies are not doing their diligence and asking. And so they're basically taking anybody's money. It's not necessarily against the law, but I'm not sure that they're getting quality investors. And so easy come, easy go. If the market sways, they're not going to have somebody that has a lot of money. These are maybe speculators or novice investors. So yeah, do your homework.
And at $100, I bet you $100 minimum, I bet you they are exceeding 35. And then thinking about long-term, Josh, let's just say you have 5,000 people invest $100 in your company through this crowd note. Your cap table is now horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And while it does get you, let's call it easy money, because an investor can drop $100 and a lot of people can afford to lose $100 without losing sleep over that. But at the end, when you want to elect board of directors and have annual meetings and make changes to the company, for example, going Series A, if you have 5,000 people on your cap table, it's very concerning, very, very concerning.
Now, an easy example for that is, say a syndicate comes in and the syndicate has a couple hundred members within it and they want to invest in you. Now that cap table gets thrown out of whack because there's so many investors. If you need approval or background checks or whatever, that's a very complicated situation.
Agreed. It's an area of concern, and it gets to knowing your audience for the investor piece.
So this next slide goes into kind of some opportunities, very generalized, talking about a number of states that have legalized. So it goes on to say that they have a menu platform that integrates THC and CBD retailers' point of sale systems to present their inventory on site and online, and that they aim to assist these dispensaries and other retailers with payment processing to empower e-commerce sales, with additional plans to create a robust data dashboard to give dispensaries and other customers a competitive edge.
Again, now we're bouncing between THC dispensaries. The slide talked about where cannabis was recreationally legal and then referenced a payment processing for CBD. Crossing streams, Josh.
Yeah, I kind of have a tough time with this one because, to be honest with you, like if somebody runs around and gets some letters of intent, you're going to go around, you're going to get an LOI and say, hey, look, we're going to be the Leafly and the headset of the industry. Okay. There's a lot of other things you could do. I mean, those companies are already doing it, and I don't see anything here that makes this any better because all you have is an idea. You might as well just say we're going to be better than headset and better than Leafly, because this is very kind of confusing, saying that you're going to do 2 or 3 different things eventually, but hey, you've got 12 LOIs. That's kind of misleading, I think, and a little bit. I don't want to say lazy, but this is not, there's nothing new here. This is just regurgitated stuff that's already on the market. I don't understand why this is even out there. How did you get $44,000? 47,000. That's crazy.
305 people have invested in their company with a minimum of $100.
Here's why. Because Headset's not available. It's a private company. Leafly's a private company. And so people want to get in. And that's sad to me that they're going to throw their money at this company that isn't going to maybe even launch. And if they do, they're not going to be able to do it better, because Leafly and Headset have individuals who've been doing it for over half a decade. And the founder, Cy Scott, is brilliant. I'm going to be interviewing him at the Tacoma Dome for an event on technology. The guy started both of those companies, and you want to compete against him, you better have a serious team with serious capital, because they've merged with Nielsen, Nielsen, the rating agency. I don't really know how you're going to compete with that. There's so many other things that you could spend your time on, like automation. There really isn't even cultivated automation yet with POS with these options. And so I'm not really sure why you're trying to bark up a huge tree when there's so many other things you can do.
Again, the strongest thing that I have seen so far is solving the payment processing for the CBD industry. And if they focus on that, they might have a viable product, a viable company, because that is truly an unmet need.
I think there's a strong team here, and I think that there's a blank check company. I think they want to do a lot of things, and with capital, they can implement something very solid. I'm just not convinced on what this website is offering. And so let's do a little quick recap and see if they meet our 7 points to a successful pitch deck. Number one is identify a business plan goal. I think they laid out a few of their goals, maybe a little bit too prematurely. It sounds like it's a concept rather than an actual functioning business.
And I think that the business plan's goals are overly broad.
Mm-hmm.
You
I would
can't
agree.
with CBD and THC and consumers and data. Pick one.
In terms of knowing the audience, having seen the team, I know that they know the audience. The pitch deck may not infer that. I think it's a broad kind of shotgun approach, and so I'm half 50-50 on that one.
Josh, in this particular element, number 2 of the Talking Hedge 7 tips, they don't understand the investor audience, and we've addressed that already, but they sort of missed the boat on that one.
And number 3 is understand the market. I think that they definitely understand the market. There's a lot of data behind that they want to grab. I think that they see opportunity. They probably think that it could be done better or faster, and I would agree with that as well. There's a lot of slow rollouts in technology and cannabis. I think they do understand the market. But there is capital that's slowing down. We're seeing that the number of deals is slowing. And so capital raises, they may not understand the timing of that. I think they do understand the market, but again, it may not kind of come out in this example.
I'm not 100% that they do understand the market. First and foremost, if you're going to be a point of sale system for THC dispensaries, you're a little late. If you're going to be a payment processor for online CBD companies, that's golden. Good job. Full speed ahead. If you're making a color wheel to educate consumers as to what product they should or shouldn't buy in order to get a desired effect, other people are doing that. And if they're going for data analytics, somebody else beats you to the punch and will do better than you no matter what.
Did they identify needs and roadblocks?
No, they didn't. I personally know that payment processing is a pain point, but they never talked about the lack of banking access. They never talked about the struggle that CBD retailers face. As far as point of sale systems, they didn't really talk about the challenges that a highly regulated industry like THC faces and how their problem solves that. And then the last, I think they did touch on the need for a consumer with their wheel chart to become educated. I think they did address that. But again, when you have so many products against such a broad range of topics, I don't believe that they met number 4. I don't think they did.
And number 5 is knowing what sets the business apart. I would say that they missed the mark on that one.
Correct.
Number 6 is introducing the team and the product. They could have done better by giving a little blurb about the individuals and the successes that they've had, but they did introduce the team and product.
They did meet number 6, Josh. Correct.
So to create a summary and kind of a call to action, was that there?
I did see an executive summary. I did see, sign on now. I did see if you invest at different levels, you get different benefits. I did see an overarching summary. Oh, look, there we go. We have actual descriptions of the individuals, and that is great. That is wonderful. So I'm going to give them a half on number 7.
I can go with half on number 7. So is that a total of half a leaf? Is that 3 or 3.5 out of 7?
I think we're at 3.5. I can do because you and I disagreed whether they met number 3. So 3 to 3.5.
All right, we'll just round up. We'll give them half a leaf, say 3.5. I'd like to see this work because I think that competition is good. I think it could drive a lot more innovation to push other companies to launch or release updates a lot faster, to lobby for additional opportunities like vending machines or whatever else these guys have in mind. I'd like to see more competition just to drive this industry further.
I would like to see them narrow their product offering, for example, to payment processing for CBD. They can always grow to a POS later. They can always grow to educating the consumer with the chart as sort of an ancillary add-on product. But I would narrow the focus to solving the unmet need of payment processing for CBD retailers. And I think they would have a viable business model that can in the future grow into something else. And that would be my recommendation for them, especially when they're trying to raise money and explain their business to an investor. The investor wants to understand. And hey, we're a payment processor for CBD retailers. Excellent. I understand that. I get it. You can grow in the future. That would be my recommendation. Again, I cannot say enough. Payment processing is a pain point, and if they can solve it, they will be a hero. No one has solved payment processing to date, including myself. I've tried many times.
And then I would just advise that maybe have a C Corp as a holding company. A lot of international investors feel more confident with a C Corp, and then have that holding company own each individual entity. So you could have your LLC be your POS, and your other LLC be the e-commerce platform, whatever it is, and then everything is owned by that main company. That's kind of what I would advise, is split this up a little bit, so that you have people funneling money in for different opportunities, all owned maybe by the same conglomerate. But right now, as it is, it's a little bit confusing, kind of throwing that all in there and saying, well, eventually we might have it. We've got letters of intent. It doesn't really bring in confidence to me.
I agree, Josh. Good summary.
With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.